Welcome.
everybody. Welcome to the interview room. Hope you guys are doing great, and happy Father's Day, Chris, and to all the dads out there. Hope you guys are having a wonderful Father's Day with the ones you love.
Yeah, well, thank you. And what an amazing time today is going to be hanging out with us with our mods, hun. What do we do without our mods?
I really don't know. These are phenomenal women. We are so grateful to them. We are so grateful for Maui Girl, Mimi J2, Miss Sophia, Teresa M, and Laura Walty. Thank you, ladies, for all you do. And also thank you to our subs, our subscribers, and our membership, people in our membership, and of course our Patreon members as well. We appreciate all of your support. So thank you so much.
Yeah, and thank you guys, each and every one of you, for your kindness and these wonderful shout outs here to me for Father's Day. And we're going to give you some shout outs. So let's see, we've got a lot of folks in the chat tonight already. Sherry, Lynn, Polly, Little Texas Tornado, Funny Face Brenda, Jennifer Bradley, Marcia, Lalandes, Maple Syrup, Lalandes, Maple Syrup, Teresa M. How's your husband doing? Hopefully Jeff's doing well. Emily, Wilson, Julie Wortham, hi Julie, Class Last, Jetta Girl. The names just keep going. Little Bear Paws, thank you, everybody, for being here. And Denise, thank you for being with us for 8 months and for your kindness in those wonderful words right there. Well, we haven't done this in a while. We're at the 4-year anniversary of Summer Wells. And so I just want to kind of open it up here for initial thoughts. Karen, initial thoughts, and tell our viewers what our plan is tonight. First, you have a little update on Lori Vallow too, right? Real quick.
I do. Yes, I certainly do. So I guess let's get Lori Daybell out of the way here before we talk about the 4th anniversary, which is today, of the disappearance of 5-year-old Summer Wells out of Tennessee. So anyway, let me just give you a quick recap of the Lori Daybell stuff. If you didn't know, she was found guilty in her second trial in Arizona. This was conspiracy to murder Brandon Boudreaux, who is the ex-husband of Lori's niece, Melanie Pulaski, remarried name. Now, this was kind of interesting. So it took the jury about 15 minutes to reach their verdict that Lori was guilty. Lori represented herself. She was her own defense attorney. This was the second trial that she had done that. She had 2 trials in Arizona. And I should say the first one ended in April. She was convicted of conspiracy to murder Charles Vallow, which was her 4th husband. And now she is convicted. She's guilty of conspiracy to murder Brandon Boudreaux. If you guys watched any of the trial, she represented herself. She didn't call any witnesses. She didn't testify on her own. She didn't testify at all. And on Thursday morning, the jury reached their verdict. So for sentencing, Lori's going to be sentenced in about 6 weeks, July 25th. She's going to be sentenced for being guilty of conspiracy to murder Brandon Boudreaux and for Charles Vallow's murder as well. And at the sentencing, Brandon Boudreaux is going to get to speak, and so is Kay Woodcock. That is Charles Vallow's valiant sister, who really, her and Brandon really pushed for these Arizona trials to get justice for Charles and for Brandon. And so we're going to hear them speak most likely on July 25th during that sentencing. And after that, Lori is going to be transported at some point. She gets probably up to 30 days back to Idaho, where she is going to be continue to serve her 3 consecutive life sentences for killing her daughter Tylee Ryan, for killing J.J. Vallow, her adopted son, and for her part in Tammy Daybell's death. Tammy was the first wife of her now husband, Chad Daybell. So the one thing I'll just touch on real quick that came up, I think all of us who watched this were really curious and kind of fascinated when Trina Kay, the prosecutor, said in open court that the investigation into Melanie Boudreaux Pawlowski's involvement is not over, that it was still going on. But I've heard from legal experts after that in a conspiracy to murder case, it's fairly unlikely to bring charges to one of the lesser conspirators, and that would be Melanie. Lori was the main conspirator, and of course she was found guilty, but it's less likely that Melanie would be brought into court and have to face charges. Doesn't mean it's out of the question. And Chris, as you know, there is no time limit on murder. So charges could come anytime in the future. But again, legal experts have said it's fairly unlikely that she would be charged. So I thought that was kind of really, really interesting piece of all this. So after July 25th, we may be done with Ms. Lori Daybell. She will be in court for the sentencing. And I can't just help but think that Judge Boreski is probably can't wait for the end of this with all the fireworks we saw in court.
Lori's gone. She is now headed to Department of Corrections wearing the Vallow orange collection, and she'll have a matching belt as they transport her with an electrical switch attached to it. Okay, so she's out of the way. And we want to thank all of our new members and those of you who are joining us. And I want to give a special shout out on this Father's Day to Mary, Miss Mary, who is Summer's aunt. Thank you for being with us tonight, Mary. In my opinion, you are a superhero. You and Jeannie.
She is. Absolutely.
Absolute Wonder Women. Beyond and beyond. And those of you who are not aware of their stories, they were victimized by Summer's dad. Utah police investigated it. They opened up 3 separate cases, but unfortunately, the law in Utah, the statute of limitations did not allow charges to be filed. But it does tell us a whole bunch about why we're here tonight. And as always, we honor not only the children, but we honor all victims here on this channel. And tonight we're gonna go back to, actually now we're getting into territory that the Cold Case Foundation, where this is what we do. Because I'm gonna look at this thing objectively this evening. That when I say this thing, the totality of the investigation that we know to date. I said a long time ago, this case has gone cold. They are not actively investigating this, but it doesn't mean it can't be actively investigated. And so what we're going to do is we're going to go through a little of the math here. The first thing we're going to take a look at is what the news has said. And so this today marks 4 years. And Karen and I have said this in the past. When we were there, we were actually there a couple of weeks, right, Karen?
We were actually there twice. We were there a few weeks after her disappearance in 2021, and then we returned a year later as well. But we've spent actually a fair amount of time in that area on this case.
Yeah, and this case obviously has garnished worldwide attention. We went into the home. We talked to Candace, mom, biological mother. And it was really interesting. Dad avoided me and avoided us. We spoke to him a couple different times on the phone. Those of you who remember those phone calls where he admitted to his past activities. And I asked him numerous times to connect with me. Let's sit down. I was up there. I really wanted to help his family because his position was that she was taken. And I was open-minded, still am, to wanting to just communicate. I think I've offered probably 100 times to help, at least. I mean, that's an exaggerated number, but a lot. And it wasn't taken up. We even went to the sheriff's department to introduce ourselves with the Cold Case Foundation, spoke to the public information officer there in the lobby, and Hawkins County did not want to have the Cold Case Foundation come in and help. Now, here's a compare and contrast. I can't talk about it, but I can give you some idea. The reason Karen and I were in Idaho, and the reason we ended up at the Bryant Koberger crime scene, is because I was working with the Fruitland Police Department on the abduction of Michael Vaughn. I was embedded with them for about 4 months. The result of that case is much different than the case in Hawkins County and the Sheriff's Department. In my opinion, Summers' case, unless something kicks loose, and I'm going to tell them tonight what the key is. And it's not Don, it's not Candace, it's not Grandis, but it's Hunter. Hunter is the key to solving Summerwell's case. And he's an adult now.
Chris, let's tell people, if you're just joining us, if you're not that familiar with the Summerwell's case, Hunter was the 15-year-old boy that spent time with Summer and Candace on what we think is the last day of her life before her disappearance. And so Hunter is the son of Allie. Allie, we believe, is deceased. But Chris, we sat down with Allie and Hunter and Allie's grandmother, so that would be Hunter's great-grandmother, for an interview that we've got. Now, after I want to just say, if you want to get up to speed, if you want to refresh yourself on the case and our coverage of it, after tonight's live, our whole playlist on the Summerwell's case is in the description below. So you may want to do some binge watching on that to catch up. But anyway, so Hunter was 15 at the time, 4 years ago today when Summer went missing. And Chris sat down with him for an interview. We were there just a couple of weeks after this happened.
And I'm not saying Hunter did it. That's not what I'm saying, Trace. And thank you for actually helping me clarify that concept. I'm saying that Hunter was the last one to communicate with Summer outside of the mother giving a story. And he knows something more. And so I'm going to ask his father and Hunter to come forward again to the authorities behind the scenes and bring justice to your friend, Summer. And I know that's probably what his dad wants. Andrew, I think, is his dad's name. But I don't know if they trust the cops or not. I don't know if that's possible. Hunter's mom passed away. Miss Leslie passed away, right, Karen?
That's correct. Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if the grandmother, is she still with us?
That I don't know.
Anybody know if Hunter's grandmother is still with us?
Well, let's be clear that that was Allie's grandmother. Hunter's grandmother is Sherry. That's the mother of Allie.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
So I don't know.
Okay. Hunter, if you want to talk again, I'd love to talk with you, pal. And just so the audience knows, Hunter actually communicated twice with the FBI. They came to his house multiple times to communicate with him and to find out more information about Summer. So that should give us all a clue as to why the FBI would have been on their front porch twice. I think the Hawkins County Sheriff's Department needs to turn this over to the feds. And they need to assist on a federal level because there is still that possibility. There is I heard this one here that somebody was saying that there was a burglar or something like that and it went to a PI or something. Look, let's not keep confusing the issue here. The issues here are 5-year-old little girls just don't disappear from the basement of a house on Ben Hill Road in Hawkins County, Tennessee. And burglars don't break into houses. And first of all, what are you stealing out of that house? Have you guys seen the video? Now, we could say tweakers, stealing a torn up toaster, but the video speaks for itself. And there is no way another criminal went to that house to steal items out of that house. And all that does, it shows the amateur level and amateur hour of anybody that would confuse that with reality. There are only a few players in this situation. And if we read this Newsweek or News Nation article, it says Sunday marks 4 years since 5-year-old Summer Wells disappeared from her home in Tennessee. She was reported missing June 15, 2021. There's been an active Amber Alert ever since. Her parents said, now, I've gone over this many, many times over the last 4 years. And these would be sentences that are interjected by the parties. No other witnesses, no other comments. So you're left with the parties. And that's why I've always felt and this is the first time you've heard it tonight, the fact that Candace went over to Hunter's house after his interviews with the FBI and said to him, "What did you say?" He is the only one that's not what the parents said. He's the only one in the circle right now around Summer that said something different potentially about the parents. We heard Allie say some things. We heard Leslie give some observations. But that was just kind of historical information that they had about the relationship between Candace and the kids. And then when we add the dynamic of the state of Tennessee, the state is also investigating the disappearance of Summer. So let's keep that at the same plane. The state, TBI, Tennessee Bureau of Investigation, they are the state. There's another part of the state, and it's called Child Protective Service, CPS. CPS came in and took the three kids, the other surviving boys, out of that home for their safety, and placed them into the foster care system under the order of the court and the protection of the court. Well, those kids are starting to get older now. And it was interesting that the most recent interview with the parents, or a parent, who communicates, their own children have blocked them. And they won't communicate with them. So now we go back to this article. Ever since her parents said that she was helping her mother and grandmother plant flowers before she went inside to play with her toys, then she was never seen again. Now think about this. The media has narrowed the concept of what happened to Summer based on what the parents said to 2 lines in a news article. Grandmother plant flowers before she went inside to play with her toys. Then she was never seen again. 5-year-olds don't vanish. They don't vanish. They do not vanish. Wells' mother, Candace Wells, said, "I yelled downstairs for her a couple of times and didn't get an answer, which was unusual because usually she always answers me. So I went down there to check, and she was nowhere inside. She was just gone. She was just gone." 4 years later, police are still searching for answers in Summer Wells' disappearance. Police have been told about a pickup truck that was reportedly seen in the area around when the 5-year-old vanished. However, they only know that it's either red or maroon Toyota truck with ladders on the back. And remember, they found that truck. But the parents keep putting that into the narrative, into the environment. Since there aren't many clues, if police do end up finding the truck, they still aren't sure if it's connected to her disappearance. But Wells' father said he won't stop praying that Summer Wells is found. You see, the pickup truck is being fed by Don Wells to the media. He's saying, well, the cops haven't found it. Yes, they have. And they've eliminated it. So now, this is why it's important with the latest information with this burglar theory now, which is nuts. Because what ends up happening is an investigation, without staying focused, you start getting all this other noise coming in. So I'm going to eliminate the noise again tonight. And it's not complicated. Okay. This noise is not complicated tonight. It's actually not very sophisticated either. This is not a situation like a Michael Vaughn, who a little boy is out on the street and vanishes. In this situation, it's a very controlled environment. It's a very small environment, and it's a rural environment. So this idea of, okay, well, who's who in terms of the line of communication here? And what has been the information that's been provided by the individuals? The authorities know what was said from day one, and that's where you need to stay today. Day one. Not day 40, 50, 60, and now we're into 4 years, almost 1,200 and something days. Day one. Because day one were the most leaks in the cistern, for lack of a better analogy. Day one, the water was coming out of the cistern. Because by day 15 and 16, when Karen and I went up there to meet the family, the cistern was starting to adapt and fill the gaps. And then ultimately, confusion. Remember, they blamed the parents in Michael Vaughn's case too. Right away. They went after Tyler like wolves. And then all of a sudden, these other suspects appeared. In this case, though, the difference is she's in a basement by herself with soft pornography on the TV. Girls Gone Wild. And she went down in this dark basement to play while her two brothers allegedly were upstairs. And her mother was outside, apparently. So the mother's story, when she walked her back to the house for that day, when she walked her back into that house that day, her story is she lost sight of her and she's never been seen again. So we can eliminate the burglar story almost instantaneously because those two boys were home. They would have been the first one to say, "Mom, I hear something in the basement. I think it's a burglar." As soon as she pulls up, those two brothers were there. Summers brothers, the three of them. And two of them were old enough to know if somebody would have been down in that basement. And the dogs were another good point. That is a great point, approachable light. When we pulled up, honey, how many dogs came out of the woods?
10 to 13. At least 10, maybe 11 for sure, if not more.
Right?
Yeah.
You know, Heather, I don't know if she ever did confirm the candy incident, but again, you have to take the entire environment, the circle, okay, into consideration. She's also dealing with another disappearance in her family, her daughter, and that
That would be
circumstance,
Candace's sister.
Candace's sister.
Mhm.
So let's remember, right? Some of the things that I will not let folks forget. Dawn is a convicted felon multiple times. 3 separate prisons, 3 separate states. There was reported information and incidences that put him out of line. From Miss Mary, as an example, where she was the victim of an SA, where Don and one of his friends chased her down and tried to 261 her, which is the California Penal Code. I'll let you look it up. But they successfully did that. Don did when Jeannie was 12 years old. That is all documented and confirmed by law enforcement authorities. In fact, he was contacted while in jail, remember? Don't forget that. Because this picture with him and Summer creates opportunity. All of these pictures tell us a story about this little girl. All of these photographs teach us about the family dynamics. And today's world, if we don't put her first, then we do her an injustice. Because she is the one missing. Why? If she had walked away, a hypothesis. What's she running from at 5 years old? Why is she running to the bears and the coyotes and the animals? The same ones that her parents said, don't go out there. Don't go out there. If we look at this picture here and we see all that dirt on her face, she's disheveled. She's not wearing her shirt. What a beautiful soul we see in this child. But this one's creepy.
Chris, let's go back. Okay, we're at 4 years. The public has not forgotten about this case. We've not forgotten about Summer. It seems as though it's crickets quiet from law enforcement. Let's go back to that article you had up and let's see what law enforcement is saying on the 4-year anniversary.
They're not saying anything.
The case hasn't changed. The public interest is still there. And I recall Hawkins County relied on the public's help for searching for Summer for days and weeks at the beginning. Even today, the tip line, I believe, is still up. They're still wanting the public's help. If they want the public's help, it's their duty to tell us something. Where is this case at 4 years? Okay, listen, I worked as a public information officer representing a police department. You can always comment. You can always say something without giving away any top secret, inside, behind the scenes stuff about an investigation. TBI, Tennessee Bureau of Investigation, hasn't made a statement about this case in over 2 years. If they have, I haven't seen it, and we scour everything here. So I haven't seen the PIO for Tennessee Bureau of Investigation come out and say, we take every missing persons case seriously and to heart, and especially a missing child case. So there's a sense from a journalistic perspective on here that no news is no news. So there's this idea that do the authorities even care about this case? It's just my opinion. They were making statements every year on the anniversary, but it's been a while. And then, of course, they released that photo that came from the National Center of Missing and Exploited Children, that computer-generated photo of what summer may look like 2 years, 3 years later. But aside from that, they haven't said anything. They've been crickets quiet. And so I'm just saying, it seems that the public, for sure, on social media, the public cares about Summer Wells, this little girl, and many, many other cases, but we're on her case tonight. It's like the public cares about her. The authorities have gone totally quiet. And so what are we left to believe? How does that make the public feel about this case? That's all I'm saying.
Great points. And I want to remind everyone again about a letter that he wrote from jail where he says, I know that he'll see her on the other side. How do you know that? Where does that come from inside the soul of a father whose child vanished from their basement? Where does it come from when you write, I completely lost my mind? Where does that come from? Is that guilty knowledge? When you're talking about your child? When you say, I'll see her in the resurrection within a week of her disappearance? He's not distant him. He's not putting himself into the protective mode on this Father's Day of that child. A father on Father's Day, all of the fathers in your lives, in chat, in our families' lives. Fathers don't give up. They never give up. They are always seeking justice for their child. 4 years. And the same narrative is still being projected in 4 years. Think about that. And then he leans upon the Lord's Prayer to shift the narrative. And what about Grandis? She left. She left right after Summer disappeared. Think about that. Her granddaughter disappears and she leaves. Mom is stuck to her narrative, except to the place where you start to get into this conversation of what happened. And I am a firm believer that the day Candace and I were down by the water, she wanted to tell the world. I still believe she is racked with something going on inside, and she wants to tell the world. And I think she'll do it before Donnie and she leave this world. I think when the boys are going to, obviously they're traumatized in their own way, because we don't know what the first 13 years of their life was like for the oldest one at the time, Josie, I think. We have no idea the amount of things that were taking place. But what we do know is the state of Tennessee came in and took them out of that environment for their safety. And we also know that they kept them out of that environment for their safety. And how does the father of a missing 4-year-old or 5-year-old twist that? He tells the media in the most recent interview, well, you know, the CPS case is closed now. Well, yes, because the children have been placed in other homes. And he's hoping for recontact with these kids. He's hoping for recontact with the children. When the mother is asked, are you communicating with law enforcement? She says, yeah, I never stopped talking to them, and I've never lawyered up. I don't understand why this is being said. And by the way, this was a note, let's not forget, to a reporter who was on scene talking to her mother. You would think that the mother of the missing 5-year-old would run to the camera. But instead, she wrote a note. I do not speak for Dawn. But then she says, and we collectively, i.e. Dawn, are willing to do whatever to bring our daughter Summer home. Thanks for all the searchers. Now you have a news camera right there in your face. And they asked Grandis that same question. Did you lawyer up? And she's the one that said to Hawkins County, I'm right here. Anytime, come on over. Now contrast that with what Hawkins County said, with what the sheriff said. The sheriff says two things. One, everybody's still on the table. And two, they have a lawyer. That's why this kid is critical. Because within a day or so, and I want to bring everybody back to the table, because now that it has been 4 years, these words are almost prophetic. It's kind of like the old ex-wife when you go talk to them in a cold case and they start telling you all the things that at the time they were holding. I have always found it fascinating that Candace thought it was important enough to drive over to Hunter's house after 2 interviews with the FBI and ask him, what did they say? Well, let's listen to him.
What's up, dog? How you doing?
Good, you?
Good. So, man, there's been a lot of stuff going, huh?
Yeah.
Hey, help me out. Tell me about that day.
The whole day?
Yeah.
So,
And you could speak up, because remember, I'm deaf.
yeah.
Because why am I deaf?
I have no idea.
Because I'm old, remember?
Yeah. I'm gonna use this as a reference.
Okay. And why is that?
It's a phone.
No. Okay, go.
I was gonna say that she texted me saying that her grandma was in the hospital.
Do you have those texts?
No, the TBI has my phone.
Got it.
All right, what did we just learn? Within 30 seconds, he received text messages. They're so important, TBI took his entire phone. Okay? Now, think about that.
I'm just using her dad's phone.
Okay.
Well,
Your grandfather that passed away.
phone.
Okay, got it.
So that day that she texted me, and she said, my grandma's in the hospital. Well, her mom's in the hospital, but we called her grandma at the time like we used to. So I called her up. I said, y'all want to come over here for a bit? Because she's going to be in the hospital for a while. Because she messed up her knee or whatever. And she said, yeah, if that's okay with Allison.
And that's mom.
Yeah, that's mom.
Okay.
And so,
But she called her Allison.
yeah, she calls her Allison.
Okay.
And so next thing you know, I tap mom because she's half asleep because she works at the time she did. But
Now, let's remember what's going on here. He's talking first person, not hearsay. He's direct evidence of Candace communicating with him on the phone that has been taken into custody by the authorities. And in those text messages, she's saying her mother is in the hospital and asking him, essentially, do you want to hang out? Now, I don't want to talk about Allie. I don't want to talk about Leslie. I don't want to talk about Grandma. Okay. We are talking about Hunter. Because Hunter is the key right now. At this time, 4 years later, Hunter can turn the lock or put the key in and open the lock.
What's that thing? Oh, I asked her if they could come over. She said yeah for a little bit because Grandma was on her way. She was on the way. And so she said it was okay, and she said she'd be over in like 5-10 minutes.
Now, let's think about that piece of the puzzle real fast. Allie knew that Candace was coming over, but only for a short time because the grandmother next to her to the right, Hunter's grandmother there, wasn't home yet, and she was coming home. So Allie was concerned that there would be almost like a collision of some sort, i.e., we got a lot going on here. Why is Candace coming over? So he asked permission. And yes, there is some dynamics going on about the family in terms of, the arguments between, the friends, Candace and Allie and et cetera, and the two mothers. Okay. But let's set those dynamics over here for a moment. And let's listen to this 15-year-old at the time, who is now 19 probably. And he's putting the key in and he's turning the lock. And we have to pay really close attention to what locks he's starting to open 4 years later.
I'm telling you, I don't do good with times because I really don't look at the clock. So if I mess up sometimes, that's on me. Because I'm really bad with them times.
You're 15.
Yeah. And so she pulls up, she gets out the car with Summer, and supposedly the kids went to work with the father.
Supposedly, the kids went to work with the father. This is Hunter injecting a supposition of thought process and action to something that may have happened. So now, from an investigative analysis aspect, you would run it right up on the board. Did that happen? Because he's even questioning it.
And so
Now you say the kids. Who are the kids?
Wyatt and Josie,
So the boys.
yeah, the boys.
Okay, went to work with Dawn.
That's what I was told. Yes.
Okay.
That's what I was told. Now the question is, by who?
Go ahead.
And so I meet her, I dap everybody up. That's just how I am. So I dap her up. I said, how you doing? Because it's been a long time since I've heard from her.
Okay.
I hear from her like once in a while on Snapchat.
Now, dap her up means he hits her up on a text message. Okay. And he's talking about, I believe, his girlfriend at this point, because he's thinking about inviting her over as well. And remember, there's conversation about her hanging out with him that day.
Okay.
Well, I did until I blocked her because all this stuff that's going on.
Now,
Because he didn't want a conflict with his girlfriend coming over. So he really doesn't communicate with her because he wants to hang out with them. Who's them?
now tell me what it means when you say you tapped them up. What?
Oh,
So
dap
people
her
that
up.
so people that don't know that.
like a handshake.
Okay, so yeah, so show me.
It's just like this.
What's
That's
up,
all.
dog? Or one of
That's
those,
it,
right?
Yeah.
I get it. Okay, go ahead. See, I knew that, but people don't know that. Right. So let's make that clear. So somebody can't say, "Oh, look what he did." Okay.
Yeah. Then so she pulls up there in front of that mailbox,
Okay.
and so I dap her up like usual. She comes in. We're all sitting down. I ask her what happened to her grandma because she wouldn't tell me over the phone.
Okay, so now when Candace comes over, he does that hand gesture as if they're, best of friends. She comes in and she starts telling her story.
She said that she hurt her knee because of kids. Where did she say she went on vacation for? Gatlinburg. She said.
So she said she hurt her knees because of the kids while on vacation in Gatlinburg. What did the kids do? Was Summer one of those kids? Was Summer in trouble? Was Summer in danger?
She went to Gatlinburg for a little vacation with the kids, and the kids kept kicking her leg, and she had supposedly a plastic knee or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And so they took her to the hospital. We came in here for.
Do you know what hospital? Do you know? Not mom. Do you know?
It's the one downtown.
Okay.
I don't know what it's called, but it's the one downtown.
Okay, mom. Do you know the name of it?
Holston Valley.
Christian Valley.
No, Holston Valley.
Holston Valley. Okay. Yes, ma'am. Okay. So she's here. Grandma's at the hospital, and who's with her that
Just
day?
Summer.
Just Summer. Okay.
Not the entire day until we pick up the grandma.
Okay. What time do you remember? I know you're not good at times. Guesstimate.
I guess the time that we picked up the grandma.
No. The time she pulls up that morning.
Had to have been like around 11, right?
Okay.
Or 10 or.
No, just from your memory, not from mom's.
I think
memory.
it was at least 10 because I was up all night.
And it could be wrong too, right? Okay, so let's just kind of put that right there.
Okay, this is interesting because he says that Summer is the only one with her when she comes over. All right. And the reason she's coming over is to get the grandmother who's at the hospital. Karen, what are your thoughts so far to what we're listening to? I see you, honey, just sitting there. I want to hear your thoughts.
Well, Candace was coming over to get Hunter before they were going to pick up Grandis at the hospital. Just to make that clear.
Okay.
Is that what you had asked?
Yes. So does this bring that validity to the first for the first sentence that he says that the boys went to work with the dad?
Well, it's interesting because he couches it was supposedly, and then after he says, I was told that. And as you recall, when you talked to Candace about that, I think we got mixed messages. We got they were and then they weren't. So we got that they were from Hunter, but then they were at home when Candace came back with the milk jug in the car, milk jugs and Summer after they did the day's activities and after they dropped off Hunter.
Okay. All right. So let's stay on this path with Hunter only. Let's ignore how grandmother's sitting, how Allie and her physical appearance, let's just ignore that stuff right now. Okay. We all have a Gethsemane. Let's stay with Hunter. That's why you hear me at the table saying, not from what your mother said, what you remember, because Hunter is an important piece of this puzzle. He's an important piece of the puzzle. Okay. And I think he wants to tell a lot more. And I believe today he still wants to tell a lot more. The fact that he talked to me that day showed me that he had a side of compassion and empathy for Summer. I really believe that.
Okay, because like you said, you're not good with times right now.
Yeah,
Okay.
I really just don't pay attention to time.
Straight up. Okay, so then what happened?
And then, like I said, dapped up. We went inside, talked about it. And then she said, "You want to go fishing summer?" I said, "Do you care if I come with? Because it's summer."
Now, the whole conversation shifted there for a moment. Hunter is there. Candace comes over with Summer. And it went from mom in the hospital to, do you want to go fishing?
And I treated her like a little sister.
Right.
And she said, "You got to ask Allie."
Okay.
Well,
Get permission from your mother. All right. Now, there's another subtopic of this. We can all go down the rabbit hole of why does a woman want to hang out with this 15-year-old kid? I get it. We all get it. Okay. But let's not go there yet. Let's continue to hear what he has to, where the pieces of the puzzle that he's moving on the table. And let's look for the corners. And then let's assemble this puzzle from the corners in, not from the middle out. Let's go from the corners in on this one. Because Summer is still alive in his mind when he said she shows up with her. So it's Summer and Candace. The day she disappeared.
she calls her Candy or Candace, and then she calls her Allie or Allison.
Okay, so she asked you, do you want to go fishing?
No, I asked if I could come with because Summer was going.
Got it. And she says, ask your mom.
Yes.
And what did you do?
I went to ask her. She said that's fine because there's no problem with going fishing for a little bit and come back.
Sure.
So there's a projection here. What's the projection, Karen? What's your thoughts?
That they're going fishing. Hunter is going with Candace and Summer. They're going to go fishing.
Okay. And whose idea was it?
Candace's idea.
Summer's idea. Because Summer wanted to go fishing. Now that changes the dynamics, doesn't it?
It does.
Because if she wants to go fishing, Candace has created a story about mom's leg. And let's go over there and pick up Hunter. So is it fishing? Is it swimming? I don't know. I just heard fishing. I didn't hear a thought process about let's go swimming. Summer wants to go fishing. So do you want to go with us? Ask your mother, Allie.
Sure. And what was, when you first saw Summer that day, what was your impression?
It's just how it usually is. Just like, yay, she's over here. I mean, I don't know.
What draws you to Summer and what draws her to you?
I mean, I think it's because I show her a lot of attention.
Oh, interesting.
Like,
yeah.
What does that tell us, hon?
She's starved for attention, clearly.
Yeah, and those photographs now become more important, don't they? When we see her. When we see a 5-year-old little girl who looks dirty, malnourished, half-dressed, running around the house. There are some photographs that you can't really tell, but it appears there's something more going on there. And to Hunter's credit, he picked that up. The compassionate side of him he picked up the fact that Summer was craving attention and he started to give it to her.
not weird attention, but I show her attention.
No, I get it.
not in a weird way. He didn't want me thinking that there was any kind of SA connotation in any way, shape, or form connection. And he qualifies it with me. And he says, hey, not in a weird way. He wants me to think he's not interested in her in a weird way. He wants me to recognize he's interested in her as kind of a big brother way.
Robin shows her a lot of attention too in church,
Yeah, like I'll sit there and she'd be like, "Give me a piggyback ride." I'll give her a piggyback ride.
like an older brother.
That's what I'm saying.
Is that
because-
kind of an older brother sister kind of vibe going here?
Yeah, that's what it was because her brothers just always used to pick on her, so I just show her how real brothers should act.
Okay.
Even though I'm not saying I'm the best brother here, you guys dance.
You should talk to my brother, man.
So you see what he did there is he measured it against his other side of doing things wrong in his life at 15. Because he says, hey, I'm not saying, blah, blah, blah. But what he's doing is he's comparing it to his behavior with Summer at that time. And he acknowledges that Miss Robin at the time also gave her a lot of attention. And that's important to recognize here. Because he's the one that got out of the car, allegedly, where Summer was leaning against those milk bottles. His statement is really important. And I would submit to you, that's why the FBI came back twice.
It'd be messed up.
But it was like I was her older brother. Like they treated us like family, and we treated them like.
Okay.
At one point in time, until one mess that happened with them that just split us apart, and then she came that day.
Okay. So she's here, Summer's here, Candace is here. You get permission to go fishing because Summer's going fishing, and you were kind of acting like a big brother, and you thought it'd be cool to go with her.
Yeah.
Do I have that accurate?
That's pretty accurate.
Okay, not bad for an old man.
And I mean, I wanted to get out the house anyways.
Sure.
I ain't even gonna put it to her. I just wanted to get out the house.
Okay. And so what happened then?
And then her grandmother calls her and says to come pick her up when we're sitting right there.
Oh, interesting. So where are you sitting in the car?
At first,
Now here's the mystery meat. Did they make it down to the fishing hole? Because he just said her mother calls when we're sitting right there. Has he taken the leap forward in his mind to the swimming hole? And do they leave the swimming hole to go get grandma? Let's listen to that again. It's very important.
yeah,
Do I have that accurate?
that's pretty accurate.
Okay, not bad for an old man.
And I mean, I wanted to get out the house anyways.
Sure.
I ain't even gonna put it to her. I just wanted to get out the house.
Okay. And so what happened then?
And then her grandmother calls her and says to come pick her up when we're sitting right there.
Grandmother calls her and says, come pick her up when we're sitting right there.
Oh, interesting. So where are you sitting in the car?
At first, I was sitting on the front seat.
Okay.
Like,
Which way?
So you see, there's a break in the behavior here. And that break is, are they at the hospital or are they at the fishing hole?
Are
Go
you
ahead.
talking about, so he said when we were sitting right here, the grandma called saying she was ready to be picked up from the hospital. To me,
I
they
think-
didn't leave that property until, and that was the first thing they were going to do. That's how I read it. Is that how you read it?
Well, if the word is here versus there. So let's go back and listen again.
Point in time until one mess that happened with them that just split us apart, and then she came that day.
Okay. Okay. So she's here, Summer's here, Candace is here. You get permission to go fishing because Summer's going fishing, and you were kind of acting like a big brother, and you thought it'd be cool to go with her.
Yeah.
Do I have that accurate?
That's pretty accurate.
Okay, not bad for an old man.
And I mean, I wanted to get out the house anyways.
Sure.
I ain't even gonna put it to her. I just wanted to get out the house.
Okay. And so what happened then?
And then her grandmother calls her and says to come pick her up when we're sitting right there.
Oh,
When we're
He's
sitting,
pointing to the front yard that people can't
Interesting.
see on
Okay.
the video. He says when we were sitting right there, the grandma called to come pick her up at the hospital. So they hadn't left Allie's house at that point.
so where are you sitting in the car?
At first, I was sitting on the front seat.
Okay.
Like,
Which way's the car pointing?
Like
do you
your
remember?
truck right now?
Just like my truck.
Yes.
Okay.
It was dead serious like that, but with like an overhead to the bed
Okay.
part,
Okay.
and we moved a box to the back.
Okay.
And then we moved the box to the very back, the first one where the overhead to the bed is, and then we put another one back behind, like that passenger seat right there.
Okay. Okay. And where's Summer?
Summer, she is on the driver's side, in the back seat.
Okay. Was there any milk or anything like that in the
Not-
car at that time?
Not until we got the price list, which was like I think it was a few hours later.
Okay. Got it. Okay. Was there any other stuff in the car?
Nah, there was just boxes and like TVs in the back and
Okay.
everything.
like TVs in the back. Gives a whole new meaning to that photo. What do you think, Karen?
Yeah, a lot of junk in that truck for sure.
Yeah. A lot of stuff being moved out of that truck. Everybody see why he's important here? Why Hunter's important 4 years later? Because he's connecting the dots between Candace, Summer, and Grandis. He's triangulating not only his behavior, but their behavior. And that's why, let's just ignore Allie, ignore Grandma. At times he leans over and, did you pick up anything? Do you remember that conversation, Karen? Where did you pick up any vibe when you were sitting there? And by the way, my sweetheart was recording this for me.
I was the camera person. Allie was shooting Hunter some looks during the interview at times for sure. We didn't show, Hunter was 15 at the time. That's why we really only showed the back of his head. And that's why the camera's pointing at this part of the table. So, that's why you're seeing it this way. But no, I mean, I did see some looks. It was a long interview. It was an hour at least total. And during that time, I felt like she did. But, he was speaking freely to you at the same time.
Okay.
How was Summer acting about going fishing?
Well, she gets excited because she likes to fish and swim. She's a little kid. She's energetic.
Okay. And how's she dressed? Do you remember when you first saw her?
First saw her, I think it was a pink little tank top or purple.
Okay.
And I don't really do good with like something that happened like 3 weeks ago, a month ago.
No, that's cool.
Now there's a gap in that statement, and he qualifies it with, "I'm not really good at remembering 3 weeks ago." So the question mark is going to be, and he fills in the gap here, but he was just kind of shooting from the hip, I think, at that moment for a second. on this piece, and it gets to the bathing suit.
It's
I
cool.
can't remember having it yesterday.
It-
Yeah, now.
It's cool. Should see me drive.
But when we left, I think she had shorts on at first.
Okay.
Yeah, because she had shorts on because her mom put her bathing suit on her
Okay. Where did she put her bathing suit on her? Do you know?
inside.
In the house.
Yes.
So she changed her in the house.
Yeah.
What-
She had shorts on at first. So Summer is going through a clothing change. And he's saying that clothing change took place at the house. But the contradiction there is they're going fishing. But maybe the story is evolving with Candace about swimming as well. And
Well, I
when
don't
Go
think
ahead.
it's unusual in the middle of summer in hot and humid Tennessee to say if you're going to go fishing, especially at this place at the state park where they went, that it's not unusual that you'd want to be in a bathing suit as well, especially for the 5-year-old.
Yeah, and then put the bathing suit or put the shorts over the bathing suit.
Easily you could. Yeah.
And I can't remember, guys, do you guys remember in that video that she said she took at the water hole? Was she wearing a pair of shorts over a bathing suit? I don't recall that. If
I just
somebody
recall
could,
the bathing suit.
yeah, if somebody can refresh our memories here. Okay. All right, let's keep going. And let's stay focused on Hunter. I know there's a lot of distractions at that table, trust me. I bought Mountain Dew and pizzas for the entire table. And thank you, everybody. You're so kind to wish me happy, Father's Day. Back at you to each and every one of you and your dads and your families as well. You're so sweet. All right, here we go. Because remember, honey, I asked him, what do you guys want? Are you guys hungry? As if it was a surprise. And immediately Hunter was like, yeah, I'll take pizza. And so we had a pizza feast there. It was fun.
Did she take the clothes with her?
Yeah.
Miss-
Now you see, I'm looking at Allie asking the question and Hunter answered. And Allie, look at that look.
That's quite a look she's given you.
Yeah, she's not sure.
Allison, do you know?
No,
Okay.
I don't remember.
She was dead asleep in the bathroom.
That's fine. That's fine. So she changes her clothes here and she takes her clothes with her.
Yeah.
Okay. Then what happened?
But then, when she got changed from swimming, they had bought.
When she got changed for swimming, I think he meant, right, when they went to go to the fishing hole, that she had her bathing suit on.
Her an outfit to put on because they were supposed to go to Jonesboro, I think. Yeah, Jonesboro for this.
No, actually, he's actually saying after the swimming, she changed her outfit.
That's right.
So now we go from first outfit she shows up to, second outfit she goes swimming in, and then third outfit after the swimming event.
This big park, like water park.
Okay.
And they're going to go to a water park.
Except that was, I had thought that he had said it was not that day. I thought it was later in the week, but let's refresh our memory and hear what he has to.
Well, let's go back here for a second. Yeah. Because sequentially, that wouldn't have made sense.
Changed from swimming, they had bought her an outfit to put on because
They had bought her an outfit to put on. Who's they? Grandis?
they're supposed to go to Jonesboro, I think. Yeah, Jonesboro for this big park, like water park.
See, he's talking collectively about other people involved in the decision of where they're going after the swimming hole. Because he's saying they had bought her And then he talks about this outfit. And well, what's the purpose of buying the outfit? Because they're going out to this other place, this other water hole. Now, I wonder who's having that conversation. Are you getting any of that, Karen? Are you catching on to that?
To me, it felt like future events, and he's saying it in the same breath when he's talking about this particular day's events, that the outfit that they bought her was going to be used for, in my opinion, a separate trip to Jonesboro. Don't know how far away that is from Rogersville. And that was the plan. They were going to go at a different time. I don't think it was meant for that day. That's just always been my read of that.
Okay. That the only difference that I'm having in my head is I've asked him specifically about that day. And if he's talking about changing outfits for a projection of another day of an event that he's not going to participate in, it causes me to think, well, why is he interjecting this into the conversation? But let's keep going.
When she got changed from swimming, they had bought her an outfit to put on because they were supposed to go.
Now, that's interesting in of itself because she said she changed her, Candace changed her at that house, at Allie's house. And now he's giving a second changing scenario into a new outfit. Where does that take place? Causes me to ask that question. Is it at the water hole? Is it at their house? Does she make it home? And that's where the new outfit comes in? And does that open up a door? Is Dawn home by then? What's going, that's a piece of the puzzle that I think is very, very important that we kind of think through here.
Go to Jonesboro, I think. Yeah, Jonesboro for this big park, like water park.
Okay. So that was the initial thought?
I guess so. I mean, I don't know.
So what did you think was going to happen?
I thought we was just all gonna go fishing, swimming.
And then in the truck, she changes the plan?
Nah, she changes it to swimming because she grabbed her mother.
Say it again?
She changed it to swimming because she grabbed her mother.
Oh, okay. So so from here, where do you guys go?
From here, we go to the hospital.
Okay.
Pick up her mother.
Pick up grandma.
Not even like 10 minutes later.
Now, see, the flow in that is pretty natural. All of the changing and all of that, Mishigosh, okay, is Candace, shooting on the fly here with him by telling him, oh, we may go to the water park, we may do this, we may do that. But then it becomes confusing somewhat by having all these clothing changes for summer. So he's seen something. And he's trying to make sense of it by either maybe being a little deceptive and, thinking that perhaps I'd fallen off a turnip truck. And Jonesboro, Tennessee, isn't that where Don said he was? That's an interesting correlation. Because Hunter is injecting the Jonesboro concept.
So from here, where do you guys go?
From here, we go to the hospital.
Okay.
Pick up her mother.
Pick up grandma.
Not even like 10 minutes later,
Okay.
we go to Walgreens.
Is that near the hospital?
No, it's on Fort Henry Drive.
Okay, so it's the Walgreens by the Warrior Park.
Yeah.
That one as you come out and it's right there?
Yes.
Okay. Not bad for an old man, huh?
No, not really.
Not bad, not bad. I'm cooking here.
So there's so we went there.
You go there first
And then,
after you pick up grandma.
Yeah.
Then what happened?
And then we put this prescription in.
Okay.
Which is like probably about like 10, 15 minutes.
Do you know what kind of drugs?
No, I have no idea. She
Oh.
wouldn't say the name to it.
Got it.
And then we handed a prescription. They said about like 10, 15. Well, it was going to be 30 to 35 minutes.
Okay.
Well, I was saying the line was long
Okay.
because you have
Who went inside the store?
Nobody went in. We went through the drive-thru.
Got it.
So they're at the house. It's Candace, Summer, and now Hunter. Summer's in the back, Hunter's in the front. They drive to go get Grandis, who apparently was being discharged. And then they drive over to the Walgreens to drop off a prescription to be filled. And they're in that line, or he said it's a 20 to 30 minute wait.
30 to 35 minute wait.
30 to 35 minute wait. They're in that line.
The drive-thru. And then while we were in the drive-thru, her husband calls her.
Her husband calls her. Now that will be Dawn. Now we're cooking, everybody. Let's pay attention. I've probably heard this 100 times, but I always learn something new. They're in the line at Walgreens. Dawn is supposed to be at work. The phone rings.
Who went inside the store?
Nobody went in. We went through the drive-thru.
Got it.
The drive-thru. And then while we were in the drive-thru, her husband calls her talking about this dude named on the property that's been there for like a week or so. She told me they keep stalking other kids.
Now, she said he ended up telling me the name, and it ended up being I forget the dude's name. I've had so many other cases in between this, but anyway, Dawn calls her and says, there's a dude on our property, and he tells her the name, and he's fussing with the kids. So is that the boys?
Well, so then clearly the boys never went to work with Dawn if they're all at the home at 10 or 11 in the morning that morning.
Or Dawn's back from work.
Yeah, maybe just a couple hours work and then
Okay,
they're back. And don't you find that highly convenient?
Yeah, was it Andy? Was it Andy?
Yeah.
Okay, I remember because I ended up releasing it. I bleeped it out in this early on because I had given this to the authorities. And I didn't want that name out in the environment if they already had something chasing it that day. So Dawn calls Candace and says, hey, Andy's at the property and he's messing with the kids.
Her husband calls her talking about this dude named on the property that's been there for like a week or so. She told me they keep stalking other kids.
Who's that?
Some dude named like I have no idea who it was.
Okay. And why did Don call?
I have no idea. He just called. I don't even know if he was working at the time.
Okay.
I don't even know if he was working at the time. So even Hunter thought it was weird that Don calls to tell Candace that, hey, so-and-so's up here messing with the kids. Well, either A, he's there, and he knows that Candace and Jody Sue are friends at the time, and he and Andy's not getting along that real well that time.
Okay.
But if he was working, he obviously wouldn't know that.
If he was working, he obviously wouldn't know that. A 15-year-old did the math.
Chris, I always thought that perhaps Candace told Hunter the juxt of that conversation after and not that day. It's a personal opinion, but it just, he only would have heard her half of the conversation in the car. But I thought it was just way too convenient, 3 weeks after Summer disappeared.
I mean, that's always a possibility, but yeah, it's always a possibility. Or he could be straight up saying, hey, this guy's on the property messing with the kids. Now, here's the problem with that, right? Hunter doesn't even know if Dawn's at work. So if Candace had planted that seed, she forgot a very key piece that Dawn would later come out and project himself as being not even around. Because this conversation's taking place with them in the drive-through. And, remember there's a whole bunch of people hanging out at that property for various different times. And I don't think it was Dobbs because I'll have to go look at my notebook. I have it written down on my notebook who the person is. Let's listen a little bit more and we'll clarify this in a little bit.
That there was some dude looking at the little kids.
So this dude named Don calls Candace
And tells her about, I don't know if his name was.
and tell me about that conversation.
All I heard was.
And how did you hear it?
I heard because I asked her why he called.
Okay.
The only thing that she told me from the phone call is that there was some dude, whatever it was, just the name.
Okay.
That's all I remember. Is that he's been up on the property for a week or two, trying to
Okay, I think it's the guy that was staying there, Jose. That they were. Remember, they made all kinds of allegations against him, and he's dead too, because he died in San Diego, and they were making allegations that he was, friendly with the kids. Hang on for a minute. Let me go look at my notebook real fast, Karen. Okay.
Sure. While Chris is doing that, how many of you are catching? I feel like Allie is squirming at this point a little bit in the interview with Hunter. Obviously, she picks up a cigarette. Her body language, her right leg started to move a little bit. Not trying to read too much into this, but that's why I always wondered. Yeah, I get what Hunter is saying, but I wonder if afterwards, as I told Chris a minute ago, I wonder if Candace clarified that or added it in or whatever. What do you guys think? I think Allie seems to be, squirmy. I don't want to say agitated because didn't know her that well that I would have known that, but seems like something's going on a little bit.
Okay, I got the name. It's Andrew. They're at the drive-through, getting the prescription. Don calls. Andrew's on the property. I wrote it down. July 20th, 2021. All right. So now Andrew is on the property. It's not Billy. It's none of these other names. It's Andrew. Okay. That's who Hunter said it was.
I guess she said touch the little kids. That's what I was told.
He's trying to have what?
Touch the little kids.
Touch the kids?
He's trying to
give him a
touch
hug
it.
or something.
What do you think? Do you think that's true?
I mean, it could be because she's had this, name was Billy, right? Yes, Billy. Billy was up there doing that stuff until he got arrested.
So that's where the correlation with Billy came in. So Don calls to say Andy's on the property trying to touch the kids. And he's asked, when I asked him a moment ago, says, well, do you believe that? And he says, well, that's the other guy named Billy that has been doing that in the past as well. So that leads to this big concept of those kids being victimized by something or someone. It's not Andrew, his father. He's not talking about his dad. Okay. He only knew the guy's name as Andrew. So it could be how many Andrews in that circle up there, right? There's Jody Sue's ex, the one who beat the crap out of her. And I've seen all those photographs. So there's a couple of what we do know. Yes, exactly, Jody H. Or there is predatorial behavior taking place, which is not uncommon, right? You don't take children out of a house and take them away from the parents and have the court order parental rights signed away. So yeah, there's three possibilities. Okay? But the fact that back then Hunter was all over this is pretty fascinating.
And Billy is the brother,
No.
the son.
Nope.
Yeah.
Billy was an old drunk.
An
He's
old
what?
drunk.
He was an old drunk that was a friend of theirs that used to get in arguments with his wife.
And go
His
up to
wife
their
would
house.
take him out, and he would go up there and sleep in one of the sheds on the property.
Got it. And who was Billy trying to touch?
Billy had the hots for grandma.
The grandma.
Got it. But what about the kids?
Oh no, he wasn't around the little kids. His mom wouldn't allow that with their mom.
So why would Don, in your opinion, call Candace while you're in the line at Walgreens to say there's some dude on the property wanting to touch the kids? Help me understand that.
I mean, at first I thought because he calls her like every 2 hours because he works.
Okay.
I thought he was just doing his daily checkup.
Okay.
But then she told me about that. I was like, how does he even know that if he's supposedly working?
And what did she say?
I didn't say that. I was just saying in my mind.
And in your mind, what did you come to? What did you deduct?
Deduct. I thought that was just suspicious.
Really?
Yeah, and then later when she called.
So let's think about that for a moment. Okay. Even Hunter is thinking that Don was suspicious. This is so interesting, right? And that's why we circled back to this 4 years later, because he's projecting this idea that there's something wrong in River City here. I thought Don was just calling, quote, for his daily checkup with her. But why is he calling in Hunter's mind? Why is he saying there's somebody up here on the property trying to touch the kids? That must be the boys, because if Summer's with her, it's not Summer, it's the boys. Is there somebody up at the property trying to make a move on the boys? That's what he's saying.
Called me and told me that happened. I was with my girl at the time, just hanging over in Bristol at a park.
Okay.
She calls me while we pull up to that park. This is that Summer's missing.
So who were you kicking it with at the park?
Oh, just my girl.
Okay, just
And her
you guys.
mom and her brothers and her sister.
Okay, straight up.
That was just
Chris, I want to
it
point
with her
something
entire
out.
family, because she
And I didn't
went at the
I
ball
didn't get
field.
it the first
Yep,
time.
she was at the ball field.
Okay, so before we get there, let's go back to the
Chris.
drive-through at
Drive-through.
Walgreens. Then what happened?
Then we went. Well, she had to go get cigarettes because her mom complains of cigarettes all the time.
Where'd she get the cigarettes?
All right, so you know that Walgreens, right?
Yeah.
So there's this like daycare around there somewhere. It's
Yeah.
called like Kitty College.
Yeah, I saw that on the side, on the right.
Yeah. So there's a discount tobacco store
Got it.
by is that place? I think it's by that McDonald's maybe,
Okay,
and KFC. No, it's up by Long John Silver's.
okay.
It's like right across from it.
And where's Grandma sitting in the car?
No, she's sitting on the passenger side where she was sitting.
Okay. And where are you and where is Summer?
Summer was sitting on the, like, Okay, so you know how there's like 3 seats in the back?
Behind Grandma or behind Candace?
My lovely wife wants to make a point. What is your point?
I didn't pick this up the first time, but notice how Hunter took you from Walgreens and the Dawn phone call, skipping the rest of the day until later that night when Candace called or texted Hunter. Hunter was already with his girlfriend at the park when he got the phone call. I think I remember that around 7:30 in the evening.
Right.
Question is, why did he skip why was he, under your questioning, skipping the whole rest of the day and taking you to, well, I got a call that Summer was missing.
That's why we're having the conversation, right? You and I talked about this.
Yeah.
He's the key. And he's outside of the control of Dawn. He's outside of the control of Candace. He's 19 now. He can make his own decisions, even outside the control of his father. And that's why I think he really wants to tell what happened. He's the one that can put the key in, turn it, and we can refire up the Summer Wells case in a direction that will lead to the truth. But yes, and this is why he said, I thought it was weird that she called me later on. Great catch. Pieces of the puzzle. You're hired.
Oh, she's sitting in the middle of it all.
And why is she sitting in the middle at this point?
Because I asked to sit on the side because her grandma just got out the hospital and she was like, let me sit in the passenger seat. I said, okay. So I sat behind her mom.
Okay, got it.
So he's on the left side sitting behind Candace driving. Summer's kind of in the middle. And Grandis is in the right front passenger side.
So then what happens? She goes and buys cigarettes?
And
who gets out of the car?
Just Candace.
Just Candy? Do you call her Candy?
No, I call her Candace.
Candace?
Yeah.
Okay. Is her nickname Candy though?
No, that's her mother's nickname.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
So Candace gets out.
Gets out. She goes grabs cigarettes. She buys a puff bar. She buys
a what?
A puff bar. It's a little nicotine vape.
Got it.
I don't know if everybody else knows that, but it's a nicotine vape.
Got it. What color was it?
It was black and purple.
Okay. Was there a blue one?
Blue one? Yeah, that one was hers.
That's hers.
Yeah, because she got a blue Skittles one.
Okay. Then what happened?
And then she bought the Twisted Tea.
Twisted Tea. How many?
Just one.
Just one. And a bottle or can?
I think like it's a can. If I can get a picture real quick, I'll show you what it looks like.
All right, go ahead.
It's a whole can, if I'm correct. I just know that they have to have done something because she did not walk off of that property.
Now, part of what he was doing was selling soggy bread. But
Exactly.
And I wasn't buying it. I mean, just look at my expressions like, yeah, okay. Been there, done that. But I let him sell. And, I was watching the dynamics of everybody at the table. Of course, I was watching Allie. I was watching, the whole scenario here, but I wanted to focus on him because to this day, he still has information. And I'm going to keep reiterating that. Okay. Hunter is street smart. And thank you, Spooky Shark, for assisting with my sweetheart. Good catch. Because I didn't see the look. That said, Hunter is sharp, street sharp. He's smart. Street smarts. Probably not book smart, but street smart. And he plays the role. But he also has a conscience for Summer. Something inside of him wants to tell the truth. I believe that. And Hunter, if you're listening tonight, I would ask you, friend, there's ways of getting hold of me. You can look at our email, send me an email. I'd love to talk to you one-on-one off the record. But I know you want to help Summer. I know you do. It's been 4 years. I know you want to help.
That's all I know. That's what it looks like.
Oh, okay. So let me show this right there, Twisted Tea in a yellow container. Okay. Okay, cool. You get the twist. She buys
Just one.
one.
It's
I don't want to mess up your phone, bro. Okay, so then what happens?
Then after that, we go to the horse stable part.
So you drive to the horse stable.
Straight to the horse stable.
Right from there, you go right to the horse. Where's Grandma at this point?
Grandma, she just in the car on the phone.
You got the discount store, and you head right to the water park. Okay, walk me through what Summer's doing at that
You notice the Mountain Dew on the table now? Because that's where we have pizza.
moment.
Well, at that moment, she was holding my hand like this, like with her arms wrapped around, because she gets cold when the window's down, and so it was down, and we were just watching TikTok.
So she's snuggling with you.
Basically, yeah.
Okay, and you're watching TikTok videos. Which ones did you watch?
I don't even know. I just scroll through the thing. To be
Okay,
honest.
okay. Was she laughing?
Yeah, of course.
She seemed normal.
Yeah.
Okay. Now that call that Candace got from Dawn.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me about that call again.
The call. So where her phone is in the middle of the truck. You know the console part.
Okay.
It was right there, and he called, and she said everybody be quiet. So we all was quiet. Her mom was going through her phone. I turned my phone off till she was done to see if I could listen in on anything suspicious or anything. And then after she got off, I go, "What do you call about?" She goes, "There's been this dude. I know it starts with a for sure. I just can't figure out the rest of it."
Okay, so you're at now. Summer you're watching TikTok videos. She's acting normal. Is she in her bathing suit at this point? Because she'd been changed at the house.
Yeah,
or,
she is.
if you remember.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't want to put words in your mouth. Though.
No, you're not. It's
Okay.
chill.
Then what happens? From there, you guys go where?
From the drugstore?
Yeah.
We got to that place by the stables.
Okay. And you say that place, is that the swimming hole?
I don't even know if it's allowed to be called a swimming hole. That's why I call it that place.
Got it. Straight up. Now, is this Warrior Park?
No, it's not in Warriors Park. It's at the stables, the horse stables.
Yes, sir.
Warriors Horse Stables or whatever they're called.
Okay, got it. And is this where you guys got out and went swimming?
Yeah, at that little hole.
At some point, where she give you something?
Yeah, that Twisted Tea.
And when did she give you that?
As soon as we got out the car.
Right, as soon as you got down there? And did she have one?
No.
Did she have any alcohol?
No, because she had to drive.
Okay, so she gives you the alcohol.
Yeah.
Did you ask for it?
Not until after she got it.
Okay.
I mean,
So-
I'm never gonna lie.
No, okay. So after she bought it, you said, "Hey, can I have that?"
Yeah, she just said yeah.
And she just kicked it onto you, gave it to you.
She does that. You can ask her.
Okay, well, I'll ask you because you're the one. If she handed it to you, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, what about the
vape.
yeah, the vape?
Oh, we was both hitting it.
Okay. And do you do that a lot?
What vape?
Yeah.
I mean, when I have them, yeah.
Okay.
There's just like nicotine vapes.
Okay. Don't vape, man. Okay.
Vape.
All right. No more vaping. Okay. Mom, no vaping over here.
Yeah, no baby.
Straight up.
Yeah.
Okay. So from there, what happened? Or at that moment, what happens? Do you go in the water first, or who
No,
goes in the
so
water?
Summer was in the water because I was drinking the tea at the time.
Got it. Where were you at?
I was just standing around. Me and her mom was watching
What are you talking about?
TikTok. like she was on TikTok looking at funny videos.
Okay.
And then she was looking through Facebook. We just have like our normal conversation.
And like what?
Like we just talk about what we've done the past week, how long we haven't seen each other for. That's just what we just mainly do. Just hang out.
Okay. Does she like you?
No.
Not
She
in
has a
that way?
husband. She has a husband.
Okay, but in that way, does she like you?
No.
Did you get
Now, see, that was an interesting qualifier. When, I mean, he didn't say no. He said she has a husband. So for a 15-year-old, his projection on that is, well, she can't like me because he has a husband. She has a husband. When, you know, I think we all think that, yeah, right. What are your thoughts so far, Karen? We're getting close. Where
Yeah,
we're
on
at.
that one, anything's possible was my answer.
get that vibe
Uh-uh.
at all?
Nah, she just treated me like
And he's not going to tell me anyway with his mother sitting there.
Of course not.
her adopted son. If I
Okay.
could say that.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. And from there,
Most-
where's grandma at this point?
She was still in the car because she had a call to get her phone turned on.
Okay, whose phone is she using?
She's using her phone.
Okay, but it's turned off.
No, her phone's not turned off. I
Oh.
was saying like it's not turned all the way off. Like there's like no minutes to it.
Got it. So she's got one of the like burner phones,
Nah,
load
she has a
minutes to
straight
it.
talk. She has a straight talk phone. She had to
Got it.
call straight talk to put money in it,
Got it.
so she got minutes for the rest
A
of
lot of senior citizens use those.
Yeah.
Do you think I need one?
What, straight talk phone?
Don't answer that, Hunter.
Our grandma does though.
Oh,
Free phone.
there you go. There you go.
I mean, it's still a government phone.
There you go. Okay, straight up. So she's in the car. You're with Candace. Summer's in the water. Walk me through that. What do you see happening?
See it happening. I just see her swimming like usual.
How far out is she?
Okay, so you got that TikTok on your phone or something? Because I want to show them precisely
Okay.
the exact how far she goes.
Okay. And who took this TikTok?
Her mother.
Candace.
I mean, you might see me throw up a gang sign, but
Did you take a TikTok?
I'll do TikToks.
Okay. Did you do pictures? You do Instagram, Twitter?
I mean, I do pictures with my girl, but that's it.
Right. Did you do a picture with her, with Summer that day?
Nah, she was just taking a video.
Candace was.
Yeah.
Okay.
She took a whole video of all of us over there.
Okay. Who's all of us?
Me, her mom, and Summer.
Got it. So mom gets out of the car at some point?
Yeah, at some point, I don't even know what point that is.
Okay. That's cool.
She just gets out the car when she's done with the phone, and then they tell me about that water park.
Okay. So you
There's that water park again. Hang on, I got to back that up.
Gets out the car when she's done with the phone, and then they tell me about that water park.
Okay, so you
And they tell me about that water park. So Candace and Grandis are having a conversation about this water park thing.
Right.
What that
And we think that's at a future time, the later in the week, the following week, something like that.
Yeah, interesting. But why are they projecting that on him at the water hole?
Because Summer is in a bathing suit and she's swimming in the water in front of them.
Mhm. Okay,
see
I mean-
go ahead.
No, I didn't think that was highly unusual it sort of fit with the setting that they were in. That's how I
Point.
felt. Yeah.
where Summer is underwater.
For like 10 to 15 seconds.
Okay, walk me through that.
And so I'll go in calm as heck because I know she might
I go in calm as heck. He qualifies his mental state.
be messing around.
Did you
like
think
usually
she
does.
was injured?
No,
Could she have been?
She could have been.
So he's not sure if she's injured or not in the water.
I mean,
Help me on.
I think this is where a lot of people jump. A lot of folks jump to the conclusion that this is a water incident and that they brought her home and there's a cover-up going on here.
Understand that.
I mean, she could have been when she got back into the car, like how the water gets through your lungs.
See, because that's specific information. She could have been when she got back into the car, there's, like water in your lungs.
And everything else.
Okay.
And how she was in
So could this been a dry, a dry drowning?
a hot car while they went to the stores and everything.
Okay, so let's go from the moment you see.
See, that's really specific for a 15-year-old to be thinking about, did she ingest a whole bunch of water and then they went to the store and, then he pushes it forward into the store, etc. That's I've always been curious about that piece of the puzzle. I mean, is it a possibility? Yeah, I mean, everything's on the table still. And that would have led to that conversation where we had with Candace Karen, where she says, yeah, when we got home, she jumped right up.
Yeah, exactly.
So is the mindset of everybody in that car, including Grandis, that there's a problem with Summer?
See her, and what did you do?
I just throw my shirt down and just run myself into that water to see if she's okay.
Okay, so you got scared.
A little bit, yeah.
Okay, walk me through those emotions.
I was just like, I don't really get scared or nothing, to be honest. I just get a little bit like spooked.
Got it.
Spooked.
Okay.
Like, how do I put that? Like, spooked. Like, I get a little bit like shook for a second.
Right.
That's it.
Okay.
So he was shook for a second. This kid is trying to explain his emotional response to seeing Summer. And he's projecting that like he's the big brother. And so I wonder, it's been really interesting that nobody else has commented on that from Candace or Grandis. And it's probably why Candace had such an emotional breakdown while standing right there at the waterhole. Something happened. Something happened. We have to keep it on the table. Something happened at that waterhole. What it is, I have no idea personally yet, but they got her to the house because that narrative in the house has to be maintained. Unless they met Don in between.
She got nervous.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
And did you call her?
Yeah, I was like, Summer, but I don't know if you can hear underwater like that.
So can you see her underwater?
No, yeah, you can see her. I could see her. It's just that I was wanting to make sure that she was okay.
Got it. Straight up. And what happened?
I just pull her up, bring her over my shoulders. I say, are you okay?
See, I pulled her up. She could have been drowning.
She goes, yeah.
Did she spit up water or anything?
She did spit up water.
Was she laughing?
She was just laughing. Yeah.
Okay.
I was just saying because after the effect of that, because it was a short period of time.
Right.
See, after the effect of that, he's reflecting his own emotional state. Meaning, after seeing that, and now he's going to qualify it with an unusual behavior after seeing what he's describing here.
Right.
Before they dropped me off, that she said that she was missing.
Got it. Straight up. So in that moment where she's in the water, how much time do you think, just a guesstimate, between the moment you saw her underwater and the moment you got her up out of the water?
At least like 4 seconds.
Okay, 4 or 5 seconds.
Yeah.
So what was Candace doing when Summer was under the water?
Talking to her mom.
And what was the grandma doing?
Talking back. Looking for flowers.
What do you mean?
She always picks flowers everywhere she goes, or rocks.
So are they looking for flowers?
No, she was talking about there were flowers one day that she wanted, that they were there. I guess they go there every time now. I don't know.
Okay.
But them flowers.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. Let's go back and listen to that again. It was a short period of time before they dropped me off. They said she went missing. Okay, let's go back to that. Let's listen.
Time do you think, just a guesstimate, between the moment you saw her underwater and the moment you got her up out of the water?
At least like 4 seconds.
Okay, 4 or 5 seconds.
Yeah.
So what was Candace doing when Summer was under the water?
Talking to her mom.
And what was the grandma doing?
Talking back. Looking for flowers.
What do you mean?
She always picks flowers everywhere she goes, or rocks.
So are they looking for flowers?
Nah, she was talking about there were flowers one day that she wanted, that they were there. I guess they go there every time now. I don't know.
Okay.
Now, it's interesting. If something did happen at that waterhole, this is the concept that Candace interjects, the conversation about flowers. When she says, yeah, when we got home, she was planting flowers with grandma. When is that, when we have to think through this and go, well, is that the cover story? Which I think it's been a cover story from day one. But now this may be the idea of where that was born. Because grandma could have been at the water's edge looking at the flowers. Candace was pretty specific about that when we were there, right? Did you think she was lying, Karen, at that point on that piece?
No, I think that both of the adults were not paying any attention to Summer in the water. I think Candace was on her phone and vaping at the time. Grandis you would think she would have been slightly impaired, her walking, if they just picked her up from the hospital with a knee injury of some sort. But maybe she was looking at flowers. Bottom line, nobody was looking or watching Summer, except when Hunter looks up and obviously sees Summer in distress in the water. And then he runs in.
And it shook him.
But them flowers, she said that they were very pretty flowers and that she wished she could pick some of them.
Okay.
I guess that was what they was talking about before I went to go grab her.
Okay. But then
There's that part. I didn't hear exactly what he was saying.
That they were very pretty flowers and that she wished she could pick some of them.
Okay.
I guess that was what they was talking about before I went to go grab her.
Okay.
Before they went to go grab her.
Before I went to go grab her in the water is what he's talking about.
That's the part. Got it.
But then you noticed Summer.
Yeah.
Were you concentrating on Summer
Yeah.
while drinking the tea?
Yeah, I was staying focused on her mainly.
So you're kind of like the lifeguard.
Yeah.
Am I wrong, or
No,
correct?
you're correct. You're correct.
Okay,
I pay attention. I might not see. I could be staring that way, but still see you.
got it. I do the same thing. Okay.
I just keep an eye on what I observe things more often than people do.
You're street smart.
Yeah.
You're wise, because you never know, right?
That's why I've noticed that before you even told me.
I know somebody could walk up on you and boom, next thing you know it, right? Right. So you're watching her. She's underwater or goes underwater. Did you see her go underwater?
No, I didn't see her go underwater because she was showing me a TikTok that she done with the dogs and the dirt bikes.
Got it. Candace was.
Yeah.
So your focus was on the TikTok.
For a second there, but then when I turned my eye that way, I just seen that. I don't know how long she could have been under there for, but I just seen her under the water and I didn't see her come back up. So,
See, he didn't know how long she'd been under that water, but he sees her come back up.
Okay.
Kind of shook me, so I was gonna go see if she was okay.
It kind of shook me.
Okay.
So you went in.
Yeah.
Okay. You went in to rescue her.
It could have been longer. It could have been shorter. She could have just went under there at that point.
Right.
I don't know.
So you went in to rescue her.
See if she was okay. Yeah.
And did you get her out?
I don't know. I went in, to make sure she's okay. So Hunter, I think we're correct in our assumption here that Hunter has a lot of the keys. He's got a keychain, and the authorities at Hawkins County, if you're listening, go visit this young man one more time. He's 19 now. He can make his own decisions. And Hunter, if you're listening, I want to listen to you, because I think you know a lot more information, pal. It doesn't make you a bad person for holding off for this long. It just makes you human. And I know you want to do the right thing. A lot of people believe that you may not want to do the right thing, but I believe you do want to do the right thing. And I would ask you to follow your conscience in this, because you had enough conscience and enough concern and enough worry about Summer to go in and rescue her. I'm asking you again, Hunter, rescue her again. Bring the truth to the world. Bring the truth, please.
Route.
Yeah, I got her out.
Okay.
And then not even like 15 minutes later, we went to grab that prescription that she needed.
Okay. How was she when she got out? Did she walk back to the car?
Yeah, she would walk back to the car.
She seemed normal?
She just seemed perfectly fine.
Okay. She seemed like Summer?
Yeah. Mainly.
Did it seem like there was anything wrong with her being under that water?
Not really, but you got to think, as a little kid swimming, it can tire you out easily.
True.
So,
He's thinking concern for Summer. You got to think like a little kid. You could be it tires you out easily from swimming. I mean, that's the kind of kid we're dealing here. Everybody has judged him so harshly that he's actually wanting to help, and he's projecting that he wants to help. And that's why it was important for Karen and I, as we were reviewing these, our show for this evening, or our program for this evening. We're both convinced that Hunter is a key to this play.
I don't know if she could have been sleeping when they dropped me off, because I thought she was awake.
I think he's not talking because he has influences around him.
Okay. So from the water hole now, or I'll call it a water hole.
From the water hole,
Where do you go?
we go to this thing called a hippie house.
Hippie house?
And they sell like THC, CBD, the
Got
vapes.
Got it. So she's going to cop like another vape, or is she
Yeah,
buying CBD?
She was gonna go in there to see what was in there because it just had opened.
Okay, so you get there to that house. It's called the hippie house?
Yeah, it's literally. So you know how you come up from what's it called? The Warriors.
Yeah.
You know how you come up? There's like a few places on the side here. There.
Yes, sir.
There's a hippie house. Like they used to go to this one. It's another tobacco store. I don't know. Who
Okay.
it is. That's probably one of the neighbors. It's another tobacco store.
Okay.
But she used to go to it. It's down there.
Right.
Mom, where's that tobacco store? No, not that one. The other one.
Hippie house.
Not the hippie house. The tobacco store.
That was funny.
So funny 4 years
Oh, God.
later.
Oh yeah,
my
this is right out of
gosh.
Central Casting. Sign the contract. Grandma and
man.
go hippie house. Okay. Oh my gosh. What are we in the middle? More pizza. Put it on the
Oh,
table.
man.
Grandma.
Down by Warriors.
I don't know the name of that one.
No, which one I'm talking about? The white one.
Yeah.
That's all right. I'll find it.
But it's
So
it's
what
white.
is she? Did you go in?
No, I can't go in. I'm under.
Who went in?
Her and her mother.
And that left you in Summer.
Yeah.
Was she talking to you?
Because I would have to.
Remember that.
Yes.
That was.
I think Josh immortalized.
Oh, I know. He put it on. If you guys, on the lab. And by the way, we're going to be on the lab. I'm going to be on the lab after this show tonight with Dr. Ricardo. But
I guess it's worth saying why Allie was yelling Sandra, and that is her younger daughter, Hunter's younger sister's named Sandra. She was like a baseball field away from the house at the park that you guys can't see that's in front of this house. And so Allie was calling to her daughter. And yes, it was so loud, and of course got picked up on our interview as background noise. And so it sounds a little jarring, to say the least.
yeah, it was like herding cats. I think when we got in the car, we just looked at each other and we probably laughed for a half hour of all the different dynamics going on. But I have not changed my opinion about Hunter. I've always felt, okay, he and Karen knows me. I've always felt he's a king. He's a pivotal piece of this puzzle. And that's why they tried to control him very quickly. Candace tried to control him very quickly. And it's been my experience of, working over 300 murders in my career, that when you start seeing these minutiae pieces of the puzzle, don't leave. Don't get there. Just stay there. And I've stayed in the house, and I've stayed with Hunter.
Phone here, and I'll make her swipe there because I don't really watch TikTok. I don't really like to do anything with camera on.
What was Summer talking about?
She was talking about LOLs because she likes a new thing. Her mom was talking about she done grew out of Frozen. Now she wants all these LOLs.
What's LOL? Laugh out loud?
Yeah,
No,
they're like
it's
little
some kind of
surprise
dolls.
dogs.
Now, listen to his description of Summer's growth. She done grew out of Frozen. Now, that contradicts Candace. Because Candace has, when we went down into the basement, I remember going and looking for her interest in toys, and it was, it's Paw Patrol, etc. But Mom introduces all of that in the garden story. That she puts her little toys into the flower pot and all this other stuff. But here, Hunter's saying, well, she's grown out of the Frozen stage. So is she in this princess stage? And the answer is yes, because there's pictures of her in that princess dress. And she's in that phase of, childhood, where fantasy, where all of the stuff that's taking place in her life. And quite frankly, that's also one of the most dangerous phases, because that's the grooming phase for those who would do her harm. Those are the phases that they're taking advantage of. Those are the phases like, you look so pretty in that dress. Are you 7? And, those are the kind of things that groomers were doing, the petting and all of the stuff that Don did to his sister. Summer is in this world of fantasy where she's pulling protection into this life that doesn't exist, and she's compartmentalizing potentially other things going on in her own personal abuse.
Little dolls.
Okay. Which ones was she watching?
She was just watching. I can remember it. No, she wasn't doing that. I was just saying she was talking about that.
Got it.
But she was mainly watching Poppets.
Okay.
I'll show you what that is, because we got one.
Oh, Poppets. You see why somebody would be involved in this thing.
Yeah, I
Right
just
here.
mess with them because I have impulsive ADHD.
Okay, so she likes these.
Mm-hmm.
This is one of her favorite toys?
No, it's something that she just got into.
Got it.
Over there?
Because she was scrolling through that. I told you Miss Johnny May was fixing to leave.
Now, the reason this is cut, and I played the whole version, there's another video in our playlist where none of this was bleeped out. Andy's name wasn't bleeped out, etc. I chose this one because it was right up to a certain point that I wanted to see. But you guys can go watch the other one too. But that thing in between all of this, Allie had come back, sat there, and she was on the phone trying to get hold of Sandra, her other daughter, to bring her home. Sandra had actually come home. Remember, Karen? And
Yeah, we met her. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and they got into it, mom and daughter, and we're kind of in the middle, sitting at the table, saying, any more Mountain Dew for anybody, please, cigarettes, cigars, and it's just, there's this, and I'm trying to recap, bring Hunter into this idea of keep going.
All right, now
Miss Johnny was over there.
let us talk.
You see, and he's even telling his mom, let us talk. Let's get through this here. Okay.
So she likes these.
Yeah.
Okay. And they're in the CBD store. How long were they in there?
Like 5 minutes tops.
And then what happened?
And then she came out with 2 babes. She came out with hers and then another one she gave me.
She gave you one, another one.
Yeah.
Okay. And then what took place then?
Then we went to grab that prescription.
That's when you went to the prescription
Yes.
at Walgreens because it was ready.
Yeah.
Okay. How long do you think it took for that prescription to get ready?
They said 35 minutes.
Okay.
So we could have all took 35 minutes or more.
Okay. And then what happened when did somebody go into the store or did you go through drive-through again?
Drive-through again.
And where are you sitting at this point?
The same. Well, I was sitting in the middle because she was the person that was wet, and so she had a pillow under her.
Got it. So she's sitting on a pillow. The baby is.
Yeah.
Summer. Okay. Where's that pillow now? Do you know?
The pillow now?
Yeah, the pillow.
I don't even know. I haven't been up to their house in like over a year. To be honest with you.
No, that's cool. So from there, where do you guys go?
From there, we go to Sonic.
Where?
Sonic.
Sonic. And what did you get at Sonic?
Slushies. Like a blueberry slushie.
Okay.
She got some purple one. Her mother got an orange one, and Summer got the same blueberry one.
So they bought a slushie at Sonic.
The one down, not by your Walmart, but the other one.
Okay. So now where's that Sonic at?
Fort Henry Drive.
Okay. Got it.
Before Walmart.
Okay. So from there, did they eat them there? Did you guys eat them there?
No, we ate them on the way to
After
Priceless.
Walmart.
Okay. So you eat the slushes all the way to, what's it called?
Priceless.
Priceless. Okay. Where's that at?
Ask her. I really don't do good with like.
Do you know where that's at, Miss? Okay.
It's the one that she goes to by the liquor store.
Okay.
It's down.
It's down before you hit her road.
It's like almost across from J&J Auto.
Okay. And then
No, that's one.
who goes into the store?
Her and her mother again.
Okay, so Candace and her mom go in the store again. And that left you and Summer in the car.
Yeah.
And what are you guys doing?
Just still watching TikToks, listening to music. I mean, just sitting there watching TikToks mainly.
Is she lethargic? Do you notice anything unusual about her?
I didn't know. I just seen that her hair was cut. That was it.
Yeah, but when did you notice that, right?
That was like when we first saw her.
Right, when you first, right. I mean, but at that moment, are you noticing anything unusual going down?
Not really.
Okay, when you say not really, what does that mean?
Like, not in general, no.
And then what happens?
He never answered that piece of the puzzle. He said, not in general, no. So he was qualifying it that, the whole event at the water hole shook him up. That's basically what it came down to on that piece of the puzzle.
From there?
From there, I think they was in the store for an hour, maybe.
Okay. They were in the store for a long time?
Yeah, a little bit long, but not that long.
And what did they get?
So they got groceries for the house. I don't know what all they got. All I seen was what was beside of us, the milks.
Okay. And where did the orange soda come from?
The orange
Next
soda.
to Summer on the seat.
The orange soda. Orange soda. I'm really trying to think on that one. I forgot there was orange soda.
There is an orange soda on the seat in the TikTok video.
TikTok video.
Yeah, and the video that somebody took of her in the car.
There was also Skittles or something, some kind of candy.
And then what about the candy on the seat?
That was her candy. Because her grandma done bought it for her in the store.
Okay, so from there, now you have this, they come back to the car. Where's the milk come in?
The milk. Oh, when they had to put everything in the bed of the truck. Like the back of the truck.
Mm-hmm.
I call it a truck bed because it is a truck bed.
Okay. But there's a picture of Summer leaning against the milk bottles.
Yeah, they put them there. Well, I think I put them there in the middle because there's no room on the other side of me.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I put them there because
See, he's mitigating his risk in this conversation. And that's, again, we go back to, if she is non-responsive, which is one of the theories, right, guys? There's always been this theory of, this idea that says, okay, if it's a dry drowning and it's starting to, go sideways and she's starting to become lethargic and all of those other medical issues start to kick in, he recognizes something's going on here. And I think he's afraid. And at 15, who can blame him? Right? I mean, I can tell you story after story after story where, you have to have compassion for people in the circumstance that they find themselves in. It doesn't mean that they're bad people. It means they don't recognize the totality of the circumstances. And when you're trying to solve homicides, it's every little piece fits into something somewhere. And Hunter here is mitigating those pieces that he wants to put onto the table, because he's basically parroting some of my concepts that I'm giving him. Oh yeah, the milk. Yeah, I put them. So he didn't want to say, he had them first in the back, and then of course in the back of the truck, the groceries and all that stuff. And then all of a sudden he's got, this idea that says, well, in reality, I put them next to her. Okay. And so he's mitigating his risk. And I mean, we can go through a deception class all day long, right? I mean, there's a lot going on at this table. We all recognize that. But what's really going on here is a 15-year-old who has a desire to want to tell the truth. Okay. And in an interview room, what I've done many times, I'd look at a person who I know who had guilty knowledge about something, and I would say, just out of curiosity, do you see a neon light on my forehead flashing? And they kind of like, well, okay, I'm not stupid, neither are you. You're better than this. Let's keep moving. And so that once you get them over that hurdle, they'll keep moving with the truth, and eventually the truth will present itself, whatever that means. And it may be a good thing or a bad thing. You never know.
she was sitting by the window, and then
Was she sleeping?
no, she wasn't even sleeping at the time.
Okay.
I just set them in the middle because if they were to fall and spill, it would be on me, and I don't feel like cleaning up no truck mess.
Okay. It looks like she's against the door, though, in that picture.
I wasn't there when that picture was took.
Oh, okay. When did they take that picture? Do you know?
I have no
I
idea.
believe the one with the milk jugs was sitting right here in front of my house, because that's exactly how that baby was when.
Now, Allie interjects herself because for the very first time, she's actually saying, I saw that baby. So now we have two eyewitnesses. You have Hunter, and now for the very first time, Allie's saying that baby was sitting right in front of her house in that car. And that's how that baby was laying, quote unquote.
Before they left.
Okay. Well,
Before they left. See, that doesn't make sense. They hadn't bought the milk yet.
when you were in the car, where'd they put the milk?
Well, they gave it to me.
They gave it to you. And-
Not
See, mom is trying to intervene here and mitigate his risk. That's what's going on here.
to keep, but to
No,
like,
to put it away.
yeah.
And where did you put it?
I had it sitting on my lap until we got out the car.
Got it. And out here?
Yeah, out here.
Now, see, the reason the milk jugs are so important to them is because they realize something happened to Summer.
Yeah, they're really a timestamp, Chris. if we're gathering evidence about what happened to her, I would say the photo of Summer with the milk jugs really is a timestamp.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. This is that. Yeah, I totally agree because if they've got her on video, i.e. Candace on video and Grandis going into the store and buying the milk, okay, which I'm assuming they probably have, okay, then that milk makes it to the car and it's utilized to prop her up. Okay. And there's been a lot of theories. There's been a lot of, speculation about, her lips being blue and all this. Okay, well, that very well could have been. That's possible, but we don't know that yet. And we may never know that because if it was a dry drowning and then ultimately, a cover story had to be played. That's what put, even the story of the boys taking her down the stairs because she was lethargic. Remember that story? And that she fell and hit her head. They may have gotten home and said, boys, get out here, help me with Summer. And then the kids were utilized, to carry her into the house. And she may have said, take her downstairs to lay down. Or Candace may have even been right behind them because when I went into that cubby hole, holy cow. I mean, you felt like you were going to another destiny. And you're as we're going down, Candace is going down backwards, which told me that's typically how she does it. She doesn't go forward. So are the boys holding Summer? This is a hypothesis, and going down that stairwell with Candace in the front. And are they, stretcher carrying her down there? And something happened. And then, Donnie gets on the, Donnie's involved as Donnie, the disposal.
Okay.
And
And
she pulled up like a truck.
I'm on the record of saying this little girl did not walk off that property. I'll just say it tonight again. Okay.
Now, like we're at right now.
right.
But the opposite around.
Got it. So it's facing that way.
Yeah.
And you're getting out on this side. And where do you put the milk?
I set him in the middle because Summer had to. Did she even get out the car or did I? I thought she got out the car too. I don't remember that.
Okay. At some point, how did the milk bottles get on the other side of her? Do you know?
I have no idea then because she said that she was sleeping on the door. But when I got out the car, she wasn't even at the door. She was.
See, she said she was sleeping at the door. So that's a story. That's a story. That's a good place to hold on for tonight. And we're going to do a part 2 and we're going to pick it up right where, and she said she was sleeping at the door. Let's listen to that one more time because I think we're getting into the nitty gritty. Listen to this one more time.
In that way.
Yeah.
And you're getting out on this side. And where do you put the milk?
I set him in the middle because Summer had to. Did she even get out the car or did I?
Did she get out of the car or did I? You see, this is a gap in the story. He's looking for qualification. And Grandma's the one that points. You.
I thought she got out the car too. I don't remember that.
Okay. At some point, how did the milk bottles get on the other side of her? Do you know?
I have no idea then because she said that she was sleeping on the door.
See, I have no idea then because she said she's sleeping on the door. At what point does she say that? Is it the next part of this, which we're going to get into part 2, where Candace comes over and says, here's the story. Here's the story.
Yeah, that's so telling.
I'm telling you, don't you feel like he's got a lot of keys on his keychain, honey?
Yeah, Absolutely. It's so interesting going back through 4 years later with some time and more of the story to go back and to watch this again. And so much more seems to jump out going through this again.
Yeah, so we're going to do part 4 or part 2 tomorrow. We'll pick it up and analyze part 2 tomorrow. I'll come up and we're gonna continue on justice for Summer Wells. We need to make sure that we can. And if anybody knows Hunter, please ask him if he would be willing to talk off the record and just bring some peace to this child. That's it. Karen, any other thoughts before we close off for the evening?
No, I'd like to have him talk on the record, actually, because
I know,
then
on the
we
record.
can all know.
Right, but sometimes you have to, right? No man got to the top of the mountain by falling there. Sometimes we have to have a plan. And if he tells just one person, and I would love to be that one person, Hunter, you just tell me and then we can lay the bridge to get to the destination, whatever that means. Okay. Sometimes it's hard and it's difficult, but I think he wants to do it, my personal opinion. So any other thoughts, hon?
Just what you said, we haven't forgotten about Summer, and obviously you guys haven't either. So there is a lot of support for the solving of her case and for her to get justice, at least. That's the hope of everybody.
Well said. Happy Father's Day, everybody. God bless you, and God bless all those folks who may be suffering this evening from tragedy or whatever the situation is going on in their life. Hopefully we can continue to be kind one to another. Thank you so much for being with us. Thanks Armand. Thanks our veteran. I want to thank all of our veterans and our first responders out there, our teachers, as well as our nurses and doctors. Thanks a lot. Have a great night. See you tomorrow. Oh, and by the way, I'm going to be on the lab with Dr. Mercado after this. We're going to continue to discuss Summer. See you in a bit. Aloha.
Have a good night.
Hard working every day, I'm stressed out 24/7, babe. No timeouts, wish we could fly away. You and I go to our favorite place. Oh yeah, make special memories together. I'll be your company now and forever. I'll say we fly away, you and me, go to our favorite place. Feeling the sun on my face in Hawaii. With you, Hawaii. With you, Hawaii. With you, Hawaii. I need a summer breeze, some fresh air to put my mind at ease. No cares. You wanna come with me? Me and you go to our favorite tree. Are you ready now? We jump on a plane now. We're taking away. Yeah, we're taking away. Don't hesitate now. We're taking away. Yeah, we're taking away.